it's a temporary home. Every year, about 1,000 lives come here for hopefully a short stay.
So we're really lucky we have a lot of people who come through our doors already having an animal in mind that they want to adopt.
Adoption is the mission. This is a place dedicated to giving dogs, cats, rabbits, and smaller animals a future.
Maybe animals don't have to have a forever home or the perfect home. It could just be the right home at the right time for the right amount of time.
I just love helping animals that don't have a voice of their own and giving them a voice.
The place that gives pets a voice, where they have a home and find a home. This is the story of the Humane Society of Chittenden County in South Burlington, Vermont, a shelter where animals get a second chance. Meet Melanie, a small gray cat from Vermont. Melanie was 5 years old when she was brought to the Humane Society.
Melanie came to us because her family couldn't care for her anymore because they were moving. That's a really common reason why people give us their animals. She did have severe sign of fleas, so she had a lot of skin scabs and hair loss when she first came to us, so she was treated right on intake, obviously, to make sure that she was comfortable, because that's, as you can imagine, pretty uncomfortable.
Melanie was the one in the middle, I remember, and there was two others on the side, and she was tucked back away and under the covers and didn't want to be seen or touched or anything. And we asked if we could hold her and pet her and play with her, and they said yes. And so we were holding her, but she really was just super shy.
So it was hard to get her out of her shell, but obviously it didn't matter because she was adopted pretty quickly.
Being there must have been super stressful for her, and I think we felt sympathetic with that, and we knew she needed a good home, so we decided she was the one. And we took her home that day, and we got her a bed, and made food bowls and toys, and pampered her all the way. So it was a fun day.
A good beginning for one pet owner and one cat, but it's not always so easy. The challenge for the Humane Society of Chittenden County is to make it possible for many other animals to find homes. Erin Alamed has been the Director of Volunteer and Community Outreach at the Humane Society since 2015.
There's so many homeless animals out there that, some of these animals have been with their owner for 9 years and their owner passed away. So, these animals are just looking for a loving home, and some of them are already just pre-trained and beautiful and awesome, and they have such great personalities. So I think it's much better it feels better in my mind to adopt and save a life rather than to purchase.
The Humane Society works because people help animals. There are 15 staff members and as many as 200 volunteers.
Of your ear?
I think we probably do a lot more than people may know about. The goal here is to make a good match. So what we want is not only for, let's say, Hercules to be successful, but for the person equally.
The Humane Society takes in just over 1,000 animals per year. It's not uncommon for many of these animals to be adopted, but later brought back to a shelter.
The family can't afford to feed them anymore. Maybe there's a lot of medical expenses. Maybe they're moving. Maybe they've lost housing. So really those real life, reasons that people just run into, and they just need to give up their animals. Unfortunately, it's very sad. So that's number one, and obviously we adopt those animals out.
Let's go outside. We're gonna go outside.
A lot of people think, and I'm guilty of that myself before I started working here and volunteering, that the reason we had these animals they were abused and they were, mistreated and neglected, and these people are terrible for giving up their animals. But at the end of the day, these people are just trying to get by.
And that if they have to move on for whatever reason, that is what we're here for. So to judge someone on that wouldn't really align, with our mission.
One thing that helps a lot is the internet, an effective way for people to view pets before they've even walked into the shelter.
we looked at the website a lot and would see the cats that were coming in and getting adopted and the ones that maybe were staying longer because they were older, or a lot of times people don't like to adopt fat cats, so we were looking for fat ones.
So they sign in and fill out an adopter profile, which is just a front page of a sheet asking a few questions about, their lifestyle and what they're looking for. Do they have animals at home?
Why you want to adopt and things like that. And so we had submitted that before, so they knew we wanted to adopt already.
And then you have to come into the shelter to meet them in person. That's really important.
We went to the Humane Society the first time and just looked at the cats, and you get to go into the rooms and hang out with them and feel if it's a match, I guess. And you talk to the people and explain your interest in them. And it was so hard to leave every time because they're all so cute. The third time we went back, I feel like we both kind of knew like it was gonna be the day that we came home with one.
We really want this animal to go home, so if it's a good match, we will push it through.
Ruby came to us in January as a stray. Stray dogs that are found in our area actually go to the ACO, so the animal control officer of that town, so they go to the police station. She's about 3 years old, we found. She is on a special diet. She has some skin issues as well. She is high energy, so she needs hiking and, fetch and a lot of interaction, because she also needs her mind to kind of work to tire her out. So we need a good home that has a lot of activity in it. Sometimes they are here for a longer period of time. We've had a dog here for over a year before, a cat for 9 months before.
And we are an open adoption facility, and so we look for every reason to say yes. And we like to answer any questions that people have about the animal so that they really know that it's a good fit for them or not. We really work towards not contributing to the overpopulation of pets. And so if you adopt, you're not only helping with this issue, but you're giving a second chance to the animals in need who need a second chance and a new home.
Many animals get shipped to New England shelters like this one. Staff here say southern states tend not to have strong spay-neuter programs and get saturated with homeless animals. And whenever there's an overpopulation of pets, there are decisions about life and death.
So when you have 100 dogs coming in a day and you don't have anywhere to put them, you don't have a choice but to euthanize for space.
We don't have that problem here. We don't euthanize for length of stay or space ever. So if we can help those shelters in the South, that we will. And we have been doing more transports as the years have passed. We're now doing 2 to 4 a month.
The Humane Society will only euthanize an animal under special circumstances.
We're trying to change the lingo because it can't be no kill. It's just it's a false statement, because the only 2 reasons that we do euthanize an animal is for medical reasons, and then the other is behavioral. The last thing we want to do is put a dog or cat out there that is very dangerous.
I wouldn't want to keep a really stressed out dog here that nobody could handle or touch, who was maybe dangerous, just to say that we didn't ever euthanize.
Melanie, the small gray cat from Vermont, was lucky enough to get a second chance.
I feel like it's common knowledge that it's just better to adopt from a humane society or a shelter of some sorts, because the situations that those animals come from are sometimes more intense and just more urgent, and there's more of a need for families to adopt, rather than going to a pet store. And going to pet stores also supports breeders and gives money into that industry, which is not something as an animal lover that I want to do. So I think that's the main reason why we probably chose to adopt. Her name at the shelter was originally Melanie, and we just didn't like it. We could appreciate the fact that that was her name, but we knew right away that we wanted to change her name. So her formal name is actually Earl Grey, but then I had suggested French Fry, and I kind of just forced Kim to agree with it and made it stick and kept calling her that so that she would respond. And now we sometimes call her Smidge. She's got a lot of different names.
You look like a supermodel. She looks like Lady Gaga.
I'm definitely a crazy cat lady, and I love having a cat in our house. It makes college life a little easier and just makes you feel like you always have someone and a friend at home waiting for you. Even if she's totally over it, I'm okay with it.
She's like, I can't resist the pets.
While many animals are adopted every day, there are millions of animals, like Ruby, who wait a long time for a second chance. A second chance only made possible by shelters and people wanting to save a life.
It costs about $900,000 to run this place per year, so it's a lot of money. And so again, every penny, every dollar counts, and we put it all to really good use. But again, if it wasn't for the generosity of Chittenden and Grand Isle County, we would definitely not be here. So we're really lucky to be in a county that is so passionate about animals and passionate about adopting animals.
I plan to adopt more cats in the future. I just think it's really good for people to have pets and companions, and French Fry has been great, and we love her, and yes, I would do it all over again.